Okay.
Jag tryckte en gång till så det funkade.
Yeah.
You are live.
You
Okay.
are live. Okay. So, warm welcome to all participants and guests today to our webinar about why digitalization is essential for your energy business. My name is Sabina Engdahl, and I'm the Group Digital Marketing Officer at System Verification, a leading software quality assurance company in Northern Europe with HQ in Malmö. I've been at the company for 3 years now, and I've learned so much during these years about how wide scope our over 350 QA consultants work with every day when it comes to software quality assurance and stuff around that area. We do so much more than test, which people, well, still tend to think about when it comes to QA. So there are QA needs throughout the whole development lifecycle, and sometimes not even within the DevOps loop that we work with to get the most out of our product or our teams. It could be structural, organizational changes needed to be able to optimize and the outcome and the result, and to keep or to maintain or raise the quality and the result for the end user or the customer. So this is a big task, and I have not even mentioned the world around us with all the external factors. Today, we want to take the opportunity to talk about quality and the long-term value creation in a wider perspective, to give you some ideas and reasoning regarding the area connected to the energy sector. And to digitalization projects, you must probably are within this very moment, all of you. So to do this, I need support, of course. And I have 2 people with me today with approximately 30 years of experience within the industry. I'm very honored to have such talented and experienced guests with me today. And I think and I hope that us 3 together will be able to answer the questions you have and give you some information, inspirations, and insights to be able to take the next step towards digitalization, quality, and value creation long-term in your company. So with me today, I have Karin Lundqvist, the co-founder and senior advisor at a company called Energibyrån. Karin, very warm welcome. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you very much.
Please tell me shortly about you, your role, and about your company.
So, hi everybody, my name is Karin Lundqvist, and I am, as you said, Sabina, the co-founder of Energibyrån. And we are a consulting company specializing in energy help our customers with their business development. And that could be developing new business models, offers, develop partnerships, which is a very important skill to have today. But we also work with organizational development, both strategically and operationally. So we can support in strategic matters, but we can also make things happen in reality so that the customer gets the value they deserve. We started this business to be able to participate and help create an efficient and sustainable energy market. Me and everyone who works at Energibyrån have a long and deep and broad experience from working in the industry in different energy companies. And we wanted to be a good force and help more of our colleagues to be a part of and accelerate this change that we very much need. So that's what we do. And when we work also with helping organizations to develop their development skills, their ability to drive change and to develop value quicker. So we also work a lot with agile methods, and I think we will also talk about that today.
Definitely.
So that's shortly about me.
Awesome. It feels like you're the perfect guest for this webinar. So
We'll
glad
see.
to have you. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, and my second guest today is one of my great colleagues, Erik Gärdemar. Erik, you have a lot of responsibility, different responsibilities within the system verification, delivery manager, ISO, internal reviewer, team lead. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Mhm. Hi, everyone. Very nice to be here in this beautiful panel. My name is Erik Gärdemar. Like you mentioned, I've been at system verification for a while now, I think 17 years. I've been working with the QA field for maybe more than 20 years. And also the last 10 of those years been focusing very much on the energy market. So I think good input for today's sessions. Otherwise, I'm working most of my career as a consultant, being out there meeting our customers and helping them with what I call their quality goals, helping them to define, first of all, their quality strategy, and after that, helping them to actually get this strategy in place to get the most value out of it. I'm working now since 2 years back as a service delivery manager, like you mentioned, where we try to offer to our customer maybe more complex solutions, where basically a single skills or expertise is not enough to provide value for customer, and we need more, basically more people, more different skills, could be tools, could be an approach strategy when we try to offer solutions, end-to-end solutions to our customers based on their different QA challenges. I originally come from France. You might hear a slightly accent on me. Grew up in France and came to Sweden, but otherwise I now live in the south of Sweden, in Lomma, with my wife and 2 children that are starting to go in and out from the house, 17 and 20 years. So let's start to wing their own, to use their wings, I would say, at the moment. But very happy to be here to discuss 2 of my favorite topics, QA and energy. So I'm eager to start the discussion.
Awesome. You actually got a thumbs up on the reactions when you mentioned Lumma. So that's a good start, I think. And that reminds me to talk about the functionalities within this tool. We use Univid, have used that for a few times now, and we're quite happy about it. So, and I hope that you are too, as a user and participant in the webinars. So please use the reaction buttons below us to give us some feedback. And then you have on your right a Q&A section. So if you have questions during the webinar, please add them, your questions under the Q&A section, and we will return to those questions in the end of the webinar. Okay, so we will divide the webinar into 3 different parts that are well connected to each other and to digitalization, quality, and value creation long term. We will start with talking about the customer or the end user, depending on how you're working today. We will then jump over to challenges we identify and our experience tell us, and then we will end up with talking about success. What is success? How do you reach success? And that part. And lastly, of course, the Q&A. So let's dig into the first topic then, something that is so close to all of our hearts and which should always be one of the first priorities in everything we do, the customer or the end user. So looking into the energy sector's perspective, Karin, what would you say is the end user's expectations, and what should you think about when it comes to that?
Yeah, but I think first of all, there are some like general expectations that all customers today demand from their supplier, and I think that goes very well for the energy sector as well. And I mean, every customer today expects you to understand their needs, not themselves, but you as a supplier. They expect you to be able to communicate with them in any channel they prefer. at any time they prefer, 24/7. And that could be personally, it could be online, it could be social platforms, and so on. And I think it matters a little bit between what kind of topic you have. So from complex advising to easy self-service services. I think every customer and the energy customer expects an individualized experience, customer experience. It should be simple to be customer user friendly, of course. I think especially in the energy sector, also transparent like processes. If you apply for attaching your house or you buy a service, you need to know where's my errand, so to say, and you need to have real-time updates on that. I think that today every customer expects you to be a good force. And with that, I mean that you are a supplier, that you're a supplier that is authentic and transparent, and that you take sustainability seriously from all different dimensions. So I think
Now we lost you a little bit.
one who section knows that we are.
We're losing you a little bit, Karin. We see you, but we don't hear you, and you froze a little bit. So we'll see if that could be maybe a Wi-Fi problem.
Is it? I can hear Karin not very good, the same way you do. Do you hear me in a good way? Is it on your side, or is it?
I hear you, Eric. Yes.
Yep.
Maybe you're back, Karin. Do you hear us? Let's take a little bit of a pause from Karin then and move over to you, Eric. So could you please tell us a little bit about your knowledge and your experiences when it comes to the expectations of the end user or the
Yeah,
customer?
absolutely. No, but I would say that the expectation of the end user today is much higher and much more complex than if we go back only 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We have a major end user or customer when it comes to digitalization, and when you basically expect much more than you did in the past, because you see the competition, you see what can be done, and you are very aware of the digital way. Everyone works very much at the end user of quite a lot of digital platforms, at least. So I would say when it comes to a little bit the topic we're talking today, the complexity is, and you mentioned it, Karin, about many areas. Of course, you want some functions that provides your needs as an end user, but you want as well usability. It becomes a very strong area. You need basically no one's need to go any guidelines when you open an app or signing to an application, digital application. You should be able to understand what needs to be done to get the value of those functions we talked about. So that's a very important part. I think you mentioned it as well, Karin, about the design. Now we expect things to look nicer. When I'm talking design, I'm not talking on an architectural point of view, more the design for the end user or the customer. You want things to look a certain way if you go in, and it's very, I would say, branch specific. If you go in a bank app, you want some kind of look alike, the same with the energy branch or whatever in the chat. So you have this kind of design predefined, and this is part of the expectation. But the three areas I would say provide two things that are more on the top of everything. They provide, I would say, value to the customer together. If you have all the pieces, you create value to customer, and through that you will create trust. And this is very much what everyone wants to achieve while providing digital solutions, that you can actually create the trust needed, because some of the applications are not critical. We're going to talk about another type of application for the sectors when you really need that trust in place to actually be able to provide value. So I think this area, functionality, definitely you have design and usability, but on the top of it, we're talking more about value and trust, the creation of value and trust for the end users. That's what expected, I would say, in a general way.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, you can definitely see examples of that in more than the energy sector. You taking the bank and industry as one example, of course. Is there anything else that is very, very typically energy sector connected?
Yeah, but if you go in the energy sector, and Karin, please interrupt me as soon as you're back. But during the while that I can talk. But I think what if you look at the energy sector, there is one thing very interesting to look basically to the change of behavior, to the change of expectation, I would say. If you go back, what I would say, if you go back maybe 5-7 years, what was expected from a mobile application on the energy sector, basically maybe to provide a view on your invoices, that you can actually access your data, see your invoices, quite simple expectations. Today, we're talking in a completely different kind of expectation, because basically you need to steer your home and all possible devices in your home. We're talking, of course, grid electricity, but it could be solar panel connected to it. You have the charging to the car, and you want a nice dashboard to act upon those and to be able to be efficient in your consumption, to be sustainable as well in your behavior. So all these things, different branding, and so they need to be aggregated to you as an end user. So the expectation is much higher. The things you do have a much bigger impact than in the past, but it's not viewing things. I can actually steal my home and win money if I do it correctly. So I need this kind of trust in the application, in the data that is provided to me, to actually act upon it and make good decisions. So I think expectation on end user when it comes to digitalization within the energy sector has become very, very high. You can add the energy crisis as well, where we as an end user have started to pay quite a lot for energy, meaning that we want to be smart in the way we consume energy. And that's exactly what the platforms, the digital platforms, should provide to us as end users and customers.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting. We are, Karin is trying to reconnect to the system. So in the meantime, let's move over to the next topic, or the next area that we have identified of important for this session. So that is the challenges. So of course, the expectations, as you just mentioned, are challenges in itself, a lot of challenges. But how would you define the challenges? Maybe where to start if you want to change or keep up with the business around you and the competition. What do you say, Erik?
If you want to look at the challenges as such, first of all, I would say one thing that maybe an end user don't understand is the complexity of the business and the complexity of the product. Electricity or energy business, I would say, is a very complex business. We're talking about many things that basically, as today, no one knows. We're selling electricity that probably a company doesn't have at the moment. You don't know the price. You don't know the consumption that will be needed at the time of delivery. So it's just a lot of parameters. I will not go in that one, but it's very, very complex technical landscape that we're addressing. So it's good to put that in place. So definitely challenge when it comes to digitalization. Another aspect that I've seen in many, not all, but many, I would say, energy company, it's been a quite stable business and way of working in general for many years, meaning that many of them sitting on legacy systems that are quite difficult or challenging to integrate to a more modern landscape and technologies. So that means that you have a combination of stuff that need to be changed, but it's very time consuming and costly to do so, but as well add new techniques to the landscape. And this combination is definitely one challenge. Continuing, I would say, on the challenge side, when it comes to how to handle all these things, we come to the skills, because now to be able to do holistic digitalization of your organization, there is so many skills that are needed. We of course talking about developers in any kind of applications. Quality assurance is part of it, but now we coming with more data analytics. Of course, AI is coming very much knocking on the door. I would say is already inside the house for many organizations. So all these things together definitely create a need of finding the skills, the competence, and the expertise to do that, to address that journey. So maybe we're going to talk about later, but definitely have a staffing strategy is something very important for this kind of big initiative, because it's a big initiative to get. I mean, digitalization is more a way of being. You will work with that every day now on. So it's more put the capability in place so you can do it efficiently, definitely. So roughly, there is definitely a lot of the challenges. We're talking about compliance when it comes to energy sector, a lot of things that need to be in a certain way to be compliant to different kind of areas. So the regulatory aspects are very challenging as well. Now I think we have two Karin with us. That's very
double good, I would say. Welcome back, Karin. Do you hear us now? Soon? Because then when she's just adjusting speakers and microphones and stuff, I will take the opportunity to ask you, Erik, just shortly, what about traditional or agile way of working? What is your take, or how do you go from traditional to agile, or should you, or?
Yeah, you definitely should. I always a little bit. There is a need of understanding what agile is and is not. Agile is an enabler. It's not a goal. I think most of the company now have understand that agile way of working is maybe something they should implement, have started to implement, or are more or less an agile company. But I would say the important thing to think about agile is that it's about doing things in small iterations, to learn from them, to grow from them, and this is something that needs to be done on the whole organization level. You need, if you have very good and agile teams in place, you will maybe be able to deliver requirements very quickly. But now the business needs another challenge. They need to create requirements based on the challenge we mentioned previously. It's very difficult to know where you're going, to know what you do. So you need it's quite a huge area. When you have efficient team, you need to keep the pace for those team and giving them your needs on a weekly basis, and you will get them in production on a weekly basis as well. So it's more a new way of working for an organization. When you get the maximum return of investment of agile, you need to do it on an organization level. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. But then let's invite you again, Karin, talking about the challenges now, because Erik mentioned a little bit about his perspective of the expectations of the customer and end user. So briefly, how do you see the challenges within the energy sector? Of course, that's the expectations of the end user, but from your perspective, how would you put it?
But it's starting a little bit in the end customer for the energy customer. I think and that we are in the middle of a huge transformation in the energy sector. So we're moving from centralized to decentralized. And that means that the customers, they are now, they already are, and they will be even more, a participant and a resource in this energy system with all their resources. They will be a contributor here. And I think that the customer here expects to, as a contributor, understand what my contribution is, what's the right solution for me, and most important, what's the value of my contribution within this change and my resources. And I think that value can be expressed in different ways. It could be like my energy use, my energy production. It could be savings, costs, and so on. But it can also be sustainability aspects. And I think that that, of course, creates a lot of challenges and put demands on the energy company. Of course, this whole change will brings challenges to the energy company, because you need to develop new business models in order to be able to support this. You will have to develop new products and services that in different ways help the customers to steer and to optimize their energy usage. And in that way, how you would contribute to like a balanced and an optimal system. That, of course, then puts a lot of demands, because every service that you will need to develop as an energy company today will be digital. There is nothing else. There's only services that are built upon data. And they will demand information and data from all the parts of the traditional value chain. So from production to transmission and distribution to energy usage, and also probably some more external sources. So that, of course, puts a lot of demand on cooperation, breaking these silos, because you won't be able to work in those traditional silos anymore. You need to have quality in your data, because no service is better than your data. You need to have data available. You need to be able to transform data into value for customers, or to make your business more efficient in different ways. And I think that the energy companies who are used to, for like 150 years, has been focusing on stability and just kind of bringing the power to the customers. That doesn't really help, because a lot of us are still stuck in these silo structures. We are still working in old systems. We are still working a lot in old ways of working, and that does not benefit the development that we need to do. And I think as new entrants are entering the markets, and we also have customers who are digital natives, the energy choices between suppliers becomes more varied, and it's also complex. Utilities or energy companies cannot delay this development anymore, because you won't be competitive. So data is our greatest asset today. And we will really need to put that into value and to a great customer experience. I think, if I may also say, I don't know, that's probably listeners here today, or that comes from different kind of energy companies. I think that the challenges can be a bit different depending on if you're a small player or if you're a big player. So I think everyone is stuck in more or less the same problems, but you have different abilities to address them. And I think for the big ones, you have the muscles, you have resources. Maybe it's the structures that's the biggest problem. For the small ones, I think there's a competence issue, and a big need for competence and resources to understand what needs to be done, and also to do these changes that needs to be done in order to be able to digitalize. And I think here you need to make a choice between developing yourself or partner up, because I think it will be quite hard for the smallest actors to be able to meet these demands and to get the development done needed all by themselves. So I think it's really about teaming up.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. You should always have a lookout for good partners for specific specialized experiences and knowledges and so on.
Yeah.
But do you have any, because we need to move over to the third topic, but is there anything you would like to add, Karin, when it comes to traditional or agile, or the long-term abilities you need to
Yeah.
yeah.
I can add that I think that is really crucial to be to change your way of working if you to get the speed you need and to work cross-functional, and otherwise you won't be able to make it. So you need to go from traditional to agile when it comes to development. And I have a few tips there. How do you do it? I mean, start with knowledge. Understand the journey that you need to do. It's a journey that is structural, but it's also a journey that is cultural in very high degree. Use agile where it creates value. Not everywhere. Not all the type of business you have in an energy company is fit for agile or is a good method for agile. So use it in development. Destroy silos. Go from internal processes to customer journeys, value streams. Start small. That's my first tips. If you have not worked agile, so start small and scale over time. Create good examples and learn. And also go for both culture and structure. One of them won't be enough. You need to work on both ends. Take help and communicate.
You can't do that
You're doing.
a lot enough. No, okay.
Yeah.
I understand, definitely. Okay, so to be able to have time to talk about the last part in the topic we have chosen for today, we need to move on. So maybe the one that people have been waiting for. So how do we reach success? But first of all, maybe talking about what is success. So if we define success, what do you think about that, Karin? How do you define success?
Oh, that's a big question when I was thinking about it before. So, but I took it to like the big and the small. So starting in the big end, I think that, I mean, success is really business success. If you are in a company, it's about creating business results and value, and that you do by meeting customer demands. Then the value will come. And you will be competitive. So I think competitiveness and business value is really kind of in the big term. But I think it will not be successful unless you build it on sustainable business models. I think that's really, really important. Otherwise, it won't be a success today or in the long run, or for the customer, or for the business, or for the climate. The big change, why we're here. So I think that's in that perspective. But if you look to the small perspective, I think if you, for example, you start up your first agile team and you're in the kind of beginning of getting transformation, more scale. I think that a success is also that you see moving forward, that you see that steps are taken, and so you have kind of forward movements, and that you start to have a continuous learning based on the prerequisites you have. For example, in a smaller energy company, I think that's really also success, that you see a continuous movement forward.
Would that mean doing a retrospective every once in a while on the process in itself, or how do you see that kind of progress?
Of course, that's one kind of forward movement. But I think a forward movement would be creating customer value in more often and to higher speed. That's the basics of agile, that you create continuous customer value instead of like working and then you launch something. So I think that's a movement forward. A movement forward can be also, if you put it down to your team, that you go from maybe a culture where you are used to that the management team are making all the decisions, to where you see a transformation to that your co-workers are driving the change, making decisions. I think that's also a movement forward culturally that you need to do, so that your employees and your co-workers becomes more engaged and more motivated and drives the change. So that's one kind of movement. So I think like in the end, it's always business value, but it's also seeing that you're moving forward. Creating value. Yeah.
Erik, do you have anything to add on to the definition, or could we start talking about how do you succeed then?
No, but I agree with you with every point. I would it's a very wide question. You can answer it in many different ways. My first response when I'm thinking of it is like, we are a QA company. I would say if I can deliver processes to a CTO that makes him sleep good at night, then I have succeeded in my delivery of the way of working. On the same time, a little bit the same. For example, I have an idea of a team lead that he's actually putting the whole team going, letting his whole team going to an after work just after releasing the last release into production. Then he had succeeded to actually a highly efficiently team delivery to get that in place. But if you take the other part of my brain, I would say it's still on the QA side. I would say I usually think that it's very important to define success when you define your goals, because then you have more clarity about where you're going, what you're trying to actually achieve. It will happen a lot of things during a digital journey. We're talking about years of implementation, meaning that to always have a clear definition of success is very important, especially in Knowledge Way. We emphasize the need of celebrating success, for example. Then you need to know when you can actually celebrate something or not. So from a process point of view, I think it's very different what you're trying to achieve. It could be aware working, a mindset, special goals. I'm very aligned with what you're saying about value. We are here to provide value. Organization want to create value because value is money, and that's at the end the goal that we want to achieve. So all that together, I would say, is like have a clear, like you mentioned early on about how to get success, but clear goals, clear objectives, how to reach them, and when to celebrate success. Then if you address that very early in the process, you will add value in your proposition as a whole, I would say.
Okay, great. Then I will actually force you to be really clear and precise and as short as possible when it comes to answering the questions, how do you then succeed? If you have defined your success, do you have a few steps to make sure that you work with, or how do you do that? Karin.
Well, I mean, steps, maybe not, but how do you succeed? There I can elaborate a little bit. I think I would like to jump onto what you say, Erik. I mean, find your role in this energy landscape. What is your role? So define where you're going. Not everyone can go the same way. It won't be possible, even though that's mostly what it says in the strategic documents today. Number 2, focus and prioritize. I mean, don't try to do everything. Start with defining 1 or 2 development areas and put all the focus in there and get a change. Kill silos, I already said. Go cross-functional, value streams, agile ways of working. Everything is digital. So no matter what position you choose in this value chain, you will need to develop the capabilities for IT, data, digitalization, to get in the direction that you have defined. And team up. Team up with other players, team up with partners who are digital native. You will learn a lot, and it would also be a lot of challenges, but I think that's the key.
Awesome. And Erik, what do you have?
Yeah, I think you have a lot of good things already on that list. If I could add maybe one, I would say as a start, and you have you need to understand where you're going, but you need to understand as well where you're staying. I mean, with that, I mean, where are we today as a company? And I'm talking more about how we do, not how we do things, but the maturity of how to do things. Are we good enough in what we're doing? How does it look like on competition side? What is the best practice? And have a good understanding of your maturity when it comes to software development life cycles, I would say. And it covers basically everything. So you need to know where you are. Based on that, you will then create what you're mentioning, Corinne, very clear goals. You need to have, like you said, you need to have, and that's, I think we're touching upon the same idea here, a very holistic view when we're talking about digitalization, because basically it touch everything, all the business. We're talking big energy company that have quite many business within the energy sectors as well, and they want to mix them, offer them to the customer in different ways. So you need to have a very holistic view, knowing where you are today, define your goals and how you're going to reach those goals. And one last thing I would add is, like, you need people that will help you with the change, because knowing where you want to go and knowing the road that takes you to that goal is one thing. Now you are probably in the wrong road and you want to change to go to that road. When we're talking about the energy sector, like we mentioned previous, it's a very complex landscape. To just move from one road to another one is a huge effort. And that's, I think there is special skills to understand how the change management should go. Getting agile is part of it, getting better in QA, whatever. So you need to understand, how do we actually change road and take that road that will take us to the goal. And that change is quite heavy and complex when it comes to big organization, definitely energy sectors, due to the complexity we mentioned earlier. So many other things, but I don't think we have time. So
we can talk about this for hours. So, and 45 minutes was definitely too short, but consider this as a starting of the conversation. We had one topic, or we wanted to wrap up this with your key takeaways as well, but I will actually pause this, because I think that you wrapped it up quite nicely when it comes to the success factors and what you should think about. And we want to open up for questions as well. So if you have any questions in the audience or the participants, please add them in the Q&A section. In the meantime, I would like to say that the recording of this webinar will be shared with all of you, of course, through email. It will also be found on our website during the week. And then I will also like to mention that all of you have the possibility and opportunity to sign up for a free workshop together with System Verification, talking about the quality and digitalization journey you're on. So more information about that will be shared with you during the week as well. So you will have an email about that. So please take that opportunity if you think that it's for you. We haven't got any questions now. Is there anything Karin or Erik wants to share before ending the webinar? Do you have any final thing to say to the audience?
Karin?
Nothing in particular.
Well, that's also a really big question.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's basically to kind of put some I mean, we have an extremely important transformation to do, and we have an energy system that needs to be totally transformed, and digitalization is a key. So I think, I mean, we really need to get this done.
Yeah.
There is no choice for the climate, but also for the customers, because I think that if we are to stay competitive, we need to get use of the data and create customer value. So really go. We're all on
go
the same mission. Yeah.
Definitely, I totally agree. I would like to thank you, both of you, so much for participating as guests on this webinar. I hope that the participants and the guests of the webinar that listened is also happy about our conversation. And please get back to us if you have any feedback or suggestions of how to move forward. And if you have questions, reach out. You have the button for the Energibyrån on below us, and you can find system verification at systemverification.com. So please reach out, and thank you so much for participating, and take care. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Planning.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Och nu är vi faktiskt i studion igen. Ni hör inte oss längre. Liv.